I gotta get this read done. I cannot believe she reached out to me. Oh my God. It's the best.
That's a blessing.
It is. It's the best.
You see how life is just turning around for you?
It does.
Don't let nothing just turn you back, like make you look backwards. This little stuff that David is doing,
And his daddy.
they're trying to grab you, pull you back. Don't do it.
Right.
Don't do it.
Right. You're right. You are so right. Hi, everybody. Okay. All right. You leaving again?
No.
Oh, okay. All right. So, hi, guys. Oh, I forgot to invite people to join me on my live me. I need my live me Teahive just as much. Hey, Shamiria Clark, girl. Ow, what's going on? Okay, guys, listen. So, yesterday, I was reading Jara Everett's book, and I guess her family saw me reading, and her family reached out to her and said, hey, Tox is reading your book. And so Jara Everett reached out to me, and she said that she appreciates me reading the book, that all is well, and that I'm funny when I read. For some reason, I guess I'm just hilarious on this here internet, honey, okay? But listen, guys, what I want you to do is I want you to support Jara, and I want you to go over to Amazon and purchase her book, whether it be on Kindle or in other place, okay? There go D-Lovin' right there, honey. All right, so the last time we left off, she was talking about Suge and Tupac, and how Tupac was going back and forth with Cassie, and how they was just actually meeting each other, but it seemed like they was married, child. They seem like a married couple, if you ask me. Okay, I'm like, are you guys together? Have you been together forever based on their interaction? But anyway, she said she didn't want nothing else to do with Suge, honey. So she left and went back to Chicago, I believe it was. And then when they were there, they heard that Tupac had gotten killed. So that was her last experience with Tupac, which was just like epic to put in this book. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, let's get to it. Chapter 12, Getting Dirty in Atlanta. I lost contact with a lot of my LA friends besides Cassie. I got back into a singing group with Ubi and D, who was a friend of mine and Ubi at the time. D used to sleep around with my next door neighbor back home in Chicago. She moved down to Atlanta and started dancing as a stripper at this club called Nikki's. She would call us all the time and ask us when and if we could come to Atlanta. I convinced Ubi we should go. Since D talked about how nice it was and how much money she was making getting naked every night. Okay. We went to Atlanta to see D, and when we got down there, we barely recognized her because she had lost so much weight. I thought she was on drugs or something. I remember she came home from work early one day because one of the girls had stolen her money. She had been at work for 5 hours. When we found out that she had only made $35 within 5 hours, I told her she needed to quit stripping there because she wasn't making no money. Now, let me tell y'all something, okay? When I was forced to be out in the streets, child, I knew this couple where it was a lesbian couple, and the butch girl was black, and the feminine one was white, and she was a skinny white girl, and she was stripping at this black club, y'all. She was in that club for like 10 hours and did not make a dime. So I 100% can relate to exactly what is being said right now. Okay. The next day we went down to G's place. D told us that the rapper Too Short had a studio inside of his rim shop. So we went down there to see. As soon as we walked through the door, G was at the counter and asked us if we were a singing group. And we said yes. At the time, the name of the group was SML, which stood for small, medium, large. Dang. Okay, girl. We met Too Short, and instantly he liked us and put us in the studio. D started talking to every producer we ran into. She wanted to sleep with Too Short, and he didn't want her. He actually wanted me, but I never found him attractive. The shit he talked about turned me on more than anything. The shit he talked about turned me on more than anything. About a week later, D got an attitude with Ubi over who would sing lead. My voice wasn't strong enough to sing lead, and Ubi had the prettier voice of the two of us. A few days later, we were in the studio recording a couple of songs, and D started to get a little ridiculous. She was out of control with her attitude and stormed out the studio. When we made it back to her apartment, she was real silent with me and Ubi. She would catch an attitude with her brother, who she thought was taking our side against her, but he was only being honest about her ways. The next morning, Dee still had the same attitude, mainly with Ubi, because she was the lead singer in the group. So Ubi asked her to stop being a bitch and come on with it. Dee got offended and was ready to leave us her apartment because she hadn't made any money and was tired of going to the studio to not get a chance to sing a song she wrote. But that call was on J-Mac, our producer at the time, who made the decision on who would sing lead. They got into a heated argument. So Dee put me, Ubi, and her brother and so-called boyfriend out. She called the police on us, and they came to the house and said we had to go because she wanted us out. Her brother drove us to get something to eat. While we were sitting down to eat, I got up to use the restroom, and Dee's boyfriend came to the bathroom behind me while I was fixing my pants back together. I was stunned, as if he asked me if he could lick my kitty. I was so upset with Dee, I let him right in the bathroom. Lord, she done let him lick on that what? Lick on that what? Lick on that kitty cat. What she let him do? She done let him lick on that. Okay, I'm sorry, y'all. Sometimes I just go into it. My bad. I gotta kitty cat. Okay. Dee was scandalous to us. So I figured, why not let her dog ass man lick away? Hey. I really didn't care at the time because she knew we had nowhere to go. And she went as slow as to put us out of her place and call the police on us. A friend wouldn't do that. That wasn't a friend to do something like that. All because her voice wasn't prettier than Ubi's. Bitch, you can't sing. No, I don't say that. I'm just playing. So we all got back in the car after leaving the eatery. I let Dee's boyfriend continue where he left off in the bathroom. He got me real hot and I screwed him. Ubi was sitting in front of the passenger. Ubi was sitting on the front passenger seat, and Dee's brother was doing the driving. I tuned them both out and went on with the program. We finally made it to Dee's boyfriend's place to drop him off. He lived on the east side of Atlanta. Okay, I need to go to the east side because I don't know what the east side looked like. Okay, I live on the southwest side of Atlanta. Okay, whose teeth throw up southwest? Let me think. Whose teeth be throwing up Midwest? I can't think about it right now. For some reason, it's right on the tip of my tongue, but I can't do South side. I can't remember for some reason. Okay, anyway, let's keep going. We finally made it to Dee's boyfriend's place to drop him off. He lived on the east side of Atlanta, off of Ponce de Leon. Girl, I know where that's at. I'll be going to the Home Depot over there. He wanted me to think he was done messing with Dee and thought he had a chance of seeing me again, but he had nothing coming. I used him because he came on to me and to show Dee that her man she'd been screwing and claiming to be her number one piece was actually a piece of garbage. After Dee's brother dropped us off at the hotel, we called up Too Short and told him what happened. The next day, we went into the studio and met with Short and G. G just couldn't understand what it was about female groups and why they are never long lasting. He thought it was foul for Dee to throw us out the way she did. He informed me that he had talked to her just before we arrived and that she was torn over my sleeping with her boyfriend. How the hell did she know? God damn, she found out quick as hell. She was like, dee, my boyfriend licked her coochie. Anyway, to my understanding, he was no longer her boyfriend, and I didn't want the tricks. I didn't want that trick anyway. G thought it was weak for Dee to gripe over her boyfriend and stuff, saying it was nothing. Men came a dime a dozen, and he wasn't paying her bills, so he was like spilled milk anyway. At the end of the day, Dee was really jealous of Ubi and wanted to sing lead on the songs. G said to me, if you can't handle the small things, then you surely cannot handle the entertainment business. Don't ever cry over a boy in the industry. The truth of the matter was Dee had slept with J-Mac. Then she got pissed because she was a Jumpoff, and then she let Ubi sing lead. And then he let Ubi sing the lead. I'm dead. So Dee done slept with J-Mac after getting an attitude about her dude licking that kitty cat. And then Ubi still got the chance to sing the lead. I'll be damned. Y'all done got put out. Okay, I'm just saying. So we stayed away from the studio for about a week, and Ubi started seeing her boyfriend Emmanuel, a songwriter and producer for Mariah Carey at the time. They liked each other a lot. He was good to Ubi, buying her all type of expensive jewelry. One night, Ubi was gone with Emmanuel, and I got bored. So I called up a guy named Robert, who I met a while ago, giving us directions. Robert starred in the reality show called Amateur Millionaires Club. We hit it off, and the sex was good. One day I invited him to the studio in a recording session, and Too Short didn't like it. Short pulled me to the side to tell me that he usually didn't let in strangers. But Robert wasn't no stranger. He was my guest. I thought it was strange of Short to say that to me. After we were done recording, Short called me on the phone and said, I need to be married to the family before I could start bringing outside people in. I had no idea what the hell he was talking about. He thought I was trying to be funny, but I wasn't. I didn't know what married to the family meant. Then Murder Dog, bitch, not Murder Dog. Not Murder Dog, Too Short, and L Boogie, and J Boogie, and Lil Fizz. Jesus. All right, listen. Let's keep going. Then Murder Dog, one of Too Short's friends, said it meant I needed to screw somebody in the camp. Well, I'm going to tell you, I ain't screwing nobody named Murder Dog. How you gonna put a casket in a dog? Mimi, you are scandalous. Mimi put a casket in a dog up, y'all, for Murder Dog. Oh, shit. Oh, God. Whew. I gotta read that over. Wait, okay. Murder Dog, one of Too Short's friends, said I needed to screw somebody in the camp. Nobody in the camp had smacked my booty. If that's all it was, Short should have said so. I would have let him smack me on the booty all the time. He was so busy talking about strippers and big titties around me, and I wasn't a stripper, so he didn't pursue me enough. A few days later, we were in a recording session again, and Short said, I throw curveballs at him. Short said, they say no to ratchet coochie juicy J can't. Okay. What the hell? She said he's steadily talking about these scribbles. After the session, he wanted Ubi and I to go out with him. I had already had plans with Robert, so he got mad at me and made little comments to me like, oh, you gonna go with your baby daddy, huh? I ignored him most of the time. I knew he didn't like that I was seeing Robert. After a while, Short and I didn't get along well, and I didn't like J-Mac. His head was too big, and I had already gone through this controlling thing with Suge Knight, so I wasn't about to do it again. I decided to stop working with Short Records. I just passed away. Bitch, not Short Records. Not Short Records. I need my money, and my hair long. Okay? Okay, anyway. I decided to stop working with Short Records, and I explained my reason to Ubi. She respected my decision and stayed with them for a little while longer. It was a few years later when I ran into Too Short, and he asked me why I never gave him no booty. He should have said he wanted booty. So we met up one night at his house, and he was my judge. Short was pleasing that night. Short was pleasing that night. If I had any idea he was that nice, I would have screwed him as much as I could a lot sooner. There were many nights I needed company for the moment. He was sexy with it too. We were supposed to get in his hot tub, but we never made it there to it. I enjoyed that moment with him. But my thing is, the sex has to be over the moon to make me want more from you. It was nice, but it didn't reach the moon. Okay? More like Jupiter. She didn't say that. I'm sorry. It was nice, but it didn't reach the moon. But given a chance, I would screw him again? No. I already had it. Not that he wasn't good, but I had that. Okay. Oh, y'all ain't the only ones. Whoa. You ain't the only one. Whoa. Okay. Okay. Chapter 13. Mr. Flamboyant Cake and Ice Cream, Robert Jackson. not flamboyant cake and ice cream. This is getting good. I loved me some Robert Jackson in the beginning. You're talking dark and handsome and eating that kitty while I was on my menstrual. That was different. Girl, did you just make me say that? Lordy, Lord, Lord. My girlfriend, Lady Storm, said, Jara, you let that man get a taste of that bloody honey. He would be hard to get rid of. And she ain't never lied. Robert was my sweetheart, though. I was his Bonnie, his ride or die chick, and he was my Clyde. At least that's what my brother-in-law called us, which I had no problem with. Robert was good to me. He was a hustler, stayed on his grind, and always had the finer things in life because he had to impress his hoes. And that's how he kept the ladies coming. Then again, I pretty much had that sewn up. The more I took from him, the less he had for lurkers. Robert was so smooth with his outside women. He would tell them I was his baby mama, that I needed a place to stay, that he could not leave me out on the streets. Everything about that was a lie. That is the most tired excuse I've ever heard. But women fell for his lies, though. The one thing was, if I didn't see him do it, and then I had no proof, so he wasn't guilty of anything. He was a ladies' man. He was fine. I'll give him that much. Now, the positive things were he was supportive of my career. He helped me in many situations, and he hired a producer who is still a friend to record a full album for me. The truth is, Robert built a studio and formed an independent record label just for me. My issue with him was that he was way too out there in the streets. But when it came to me doing my thing, there was a problem. Typical man crap. Always wanting their cake with ice cream. Another issue I had was we fought sometimes. There were two sides to him, the nice guy and the devil. I even had a permanent. Oh. I just told this man I would call him back. I'm working. Let me call you back, okay? Okay. Sorry, guys. Y'all know how I do. Oh, I'm over here bragging and my phone falling. My bad. Like, y'all know how I do. You know what I'm saying? Different area codes. You feel me? No, I'm just playing. Okay, anyway. I even have a permanent scar on my face from us fighting. Our fight could come from my being too flipped. The ghetto in me came out sometimes. And many nights I threw beer bottles at him. It might seem funny now, but it wasn't so funny at the time. Any relationship that has violence is dangerous, but I wasn't one of those weak chicks to let a man kick my butt. Like many relationships in the beginning, it's good. Then as time went by, I wondered if I was in the right situation. I knew I wasn't the right one. I knew he wasn't the right one for me. I needed space in the relationship, just like most men do. Robert had to know when I was going and coming, checking up on my every move. Not cool at all. We would have problems if I didn't answer my phone when he called. At any rate, I got to know and become friends with his sister, Rakia. She and I would hang tight. She knew her brother. She never wanted to get involved, and I didn't want her to either. But she was cool. After a while, I saw no change in Robert. I was getting tired of the relationship, and I wanted more. I was becoming more mature and realized there was more to life than cars and material things, which was what Robert was all about. As long as I had a luxury bank account, you can have all of that other stuff. I didn't like to show off. He even tried to dress me sometimes, and we had totally different tastes. His taste was more like the shoes has to match the shirt. Not that I didn't like that look, but I just didn't like it for him because sometimes the color would put me in the mind of clown wear. My relationship with Robert has started to get boring. So the next thing up was to bring him another woman. Since he was a cheater anyway, and that's what he liked so much, I had gotten to the point that I didn't mind him sleeping with other women, just as long as he was giving me what I need. Towards the end of the relationship, I bought a total of 3 of my friends to screw him, and they did. No, not Pissy Robert. No, not the Pissy Pied Piper. This is Robert Jackson, the other one. I I was there and I watched. Then that wasn't happening anymore. In the beginning, it was fun to be in bed with him while he would screw other women. It turned me on, made me hot, but after a while, it got boring. The relationship had turned sour, and I knew he wasn't the man I would marry one day because he was dangerously loose. I had no more trust in him. It's one thing to be a jump off, but to screw your jump off with no condom? Really? That is why these celebs and important people get in trouble today with their jump offs. They go out and have sex with the jump off. Then when the jump off gets pregnant, they want to cry about it. Strap up. If Robert had gotten into a little Fed trouble, I don't know what. If Robert had not got into a little Fed trouble, I don't know what would have become of the relationship. But when he left to do some prison time, my life took another turn. Even as a married man, he still would come on to me. But I have yet to have sex with him since our breakup. Not that I'm doing not that I am doing his very unattractive lady, I think she's a lady, a favor by not being his jump off. I just don't want him in that way. We are friends. Okay, girl. Okay, girl. Okay. We are 79% through this book, y'all. Ooh-wee. Y'all are going in the comment section. Excuse me, guys. Y'all might hear a little nose blowage. Sorry, people. This book is too funny. Too much. Okay. I'm sorry. I had to clear my sinuses. Okay. Thank you. This is my favorite robe. This is Baby Fat. And I love this robe. Okay. Okay. 14. The sex, the drugs, and the tritics. All right. And Shaquille O'Neal. Shaq. I went to visit my cousin in Los Angeles, and what was supposed to have been a visit turned into a 6-month stay. He had a friend named Renee that he stayed with. She was sweet, petite, sexy, and wild. Sometimes she worked as a call girl. Her good friend was known as a celebrity madam who knew how to have fun too. After I was there a few days, Renee asked her friend if I could come along with them sometimes on her calls. The madam didn't mind. She knew I was in town for a short while to pursue a career in acting. The first call I ever went on with Renee was when she had met with Shaq. Renee didn't mind servicing his needs because he would kick her down a real suite with extra money. You would think she would be all over Shaq because he played in the NBA. What groupie wouldn't try to trap him down? Now hold up, wait a minute, let me throw some shiny in it. What? Hold up. Because I could have sworn that that Shaquille O'Neal was married during this time, right? Oh, I wish you would have specified the times. Oh, yes, guys, please donate. Donate what you can. Don't break yourself. If it's your last dollar, don't break yourself. Okay, but donate what you can towards our next book. And we're going to keep this ish going. We're going to be reading 2 different levels of book. I saw that blue shirt and thought you was my daddy. I saw the arm. So make sure you guys donate to the PayPal, the Cash App. The mods should let you guys know. The PayPal is paypal.me/ToxicDiamond. Okay. Same spelling as my name. Thank you for the 5,000 likes, live me. I wish I could do 5,000 kisses. How'd that go? 1,000 tongues. I go in church. If I had 1,000 tongues, okay, it still wouldn't be enough to say thank you. Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Now, I could have sworn Shaq was married at this time. Thank you, D11, for that $2 donation. Guys, add anything you can add. I don't care if it's 50 cents. Thank you, Kiki, for that $5 donation. Just joining, but always down to donate. Thank you, honeys. And please, live me. Make sure y'all throwing them diamonds at me, please, because we need to keep the books going. There's books that I want to purchase, but I'm not going to be purchasing them if we don't have the damn money to purchase them. It's just that simple. And we have to keep the club going. Okay. And that is why we also have the that's why we also have the members club, the members book club on the website, toxot.com. We had 2 new checkouts today. Thank you to you guys who checked out on the website today. Make sure you guys go and join as a member. Just scroll down all the way to the bottom, TOXOTEA.com. Yes, if every Teahiver can drop $1, we'll be in the game. Okay. All right. Let us continue. I don't know how many times she saw Shaq altogether, but I know within the time I stayed with her, it was at least 3 times. I know he liked her because the madam had other girls to offer him, but that's not who he wanted. He wanted Renee. Now, hold up, B. Hold up, B. Okay? You mean to tell me Shaquille O'Neal had a madam sending him women's? You ain't gonna ruin Shaq's good image like this, Jara. Yes, tell it and tell it all. Okay. There would be a lot of time. Thank you, Shamiria. I see you, baby. There would be a lot of times I would go up and meet with Renee and her madam friend just before I went in for bed. The madam always would be at the hottest parties in Hollywood. She was on her money. She serviced a lot of people you would have never thought would want a girl because they seem to have a perfect little life in the public eye with their wife. My lifestyle at this point was a whole lot faster than the days I experienced with Death Row. I actually liked the madam as a person and would often hang out with her. One day she asked me if I wanted to go to a party in the Hollywood Hills. I thought it might be good for me to meet some people in the entertainment business. I met the madam at her house and jumped in her Jeep with her. All right, I see you. Oh, I see you on the Cash App. Thank you, thank you, thank you, guys. Women. I like women's now. You hear me? I don't want no more men's. I like women's. Women's. Okay, I had to do that. I'm sorry. Okay. I met the madam at her house and jumped in a Jeep with her. The whole time she was on the phone making sure her girls were all together and ready to make money that night. Did I read the other part? Okay, hold on. I thought it might be good for me to meet some people in the entertainment business. I met the madam at her house and jumped in a Jeep with her. The whole time she was on the phone making sure her girls were all together and ready to make money that night. Thank you, Miss Jersey. I see you. Loves my Teahive. Yes, baby, Teahive loves you. We arrived at this beautiful mansion, which was way greater than Suge's house. I walked into the mansion with the madam. The lights in the house was dimmed. I followed the madam upstairs. She introduced me to some white Hollywood film producer. Then she told me to help myself to whatever. I saw food, but I wasn't hungry. So I was admiring the house and the artwork on the walls. I had seen expensive paintings in my life, but the paintings they had on the wall was ridiculous. They included paintings of Edvard Munch and Pablo Picasso. I called up a friend of mine and asked her if she heard of the painters because I wasn't the only one admiring the artwork. She said those painters were out of her league. Oh my God, Miss Kiki, baby, I wish I could take a picture of that. Thank you so much to my Teahive. I could not thank you enough. We have reached 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, you guys. We're actually at 100,012 subscribers. Thank you so very much. Special shout out to the stalker blogger who skyrocketed my subscriber list yesterday and helped me to reach my 100,000 subscribers faster than I thought I would. And shout out to the 3 subscribers who have joined her because of clout chasiness. Yes, bitch, I was watching. Oh, yeah, I was watching. Thank you so much. I appreciate all of you guys. I love you guys. The madam was upstairs and I was downstairs. I knew no one. A female came and sat next to me to talk. She wanted to know who I was there with. She seemed a little out of it. Then she asked me if I wanted to go upstairs and party. I was confused because it was a party. I told her we at the party, but she was talking about going upstairs to get high. When I told her I didn't get high, she looked at me as if I was the crazy one and asked me why I was even there. She was too stoned for me to carry on a conversation with her. I told her who invited me and that I thought I was going to be this was going to be a different type of party. She said that's why it's called a party. It's not a club party. It's people. It's a people party. I went upstairs with her anyway to find the madam, and I found her in the bedroom with 4 other people getting wasted. So much free powder was around that any and everybody could help themselves to it. Lord, they had so much powder. Hey, I'm not talking about Johnson & Johnson, bitch. I'm talking about so much powder. Oh, bitch, you think we talking about talcum powder, bitch? What you talking about? What? They had so much powder. Bitch, I ain't talking about that shit that you put on them babies and shit. I ain't talking about that. Let me stop. I am extra. Let me just calm down. Okay. The madam looked at me and said, she only did it sometimes, not all the time. She didn't have to explain to me what she did. She a grown-ass woman. Then I saw her put this water up to her nose, and I asked her what that was for. She explained to me that it keeps her nose from burning so bad. I feel like I would be torturing myself to do something that made my nose burn. The owner of the house, a friend she had known for a few years, came over and whispered something in her ear. As he whispered in her ear, she looked at me. After he left out the room, she offered me some powder that was on the plate. She asked me to try a little bit. I didn't want a party. I told her my decision was firm. I had been at this party for 2 hours and everyone seemed spaced the hell out. I knew the streets, but this was a bunch of wealthy people at this party, at this ghetto-ass party. You have to worry about fights and gunshots breaking out, but at a party with wealthy, let me go back. But this was a bunch of wealthy people at this party. At a ghetto-ass party, you'd have to worry about fights and gunshots breaking out. But at this party with the wealthy, you have to worry about who's shoving powder up your nose and make sure you don't drink from the wrong glass. So before the night ended, the madam said that her friend who owned the place wanted to get with me. She said he thought I was attractive. She told him I was a friend, not a working girl. She also told me his wife was not there. She was at the house in New York and hardly ever visited the LA property. I shocked her when I told her I would do it. I said, honey, he can have this kitty as long as he pays well. Why not? I knew I would probably never see him again in my life. So if he wanted to get with me, bring it on. Girl, not only that, but he probably ain't going to be able to last too long with all that powder up in his veins. The madam told me I could get anything I wanted out of him because he was loaded with cash, that he was also known to be a big fat trick. That was all I needed to hear. I told her 10 stacks. First of all, his wife had no idea he was tricking with a jump off. I was surely his jump off that night. When I know a man is married, if I decide to be his jump off for whatever reason, I will try my best to break him for every dollar he got. As you should. She looked at me and laughed because she had never charged that much for anyone, but it didn't matter if she did or not. I didn't work for her. She had all of these friends in these high places, so if they wanted a girl like me for sex, they had to pay. What do I look like? Being this filthy rich guy's jump off for one night and then he does nothing for me besides screw me. How hot is that? It's not. You right, girl, that is not lit. So I made his ass pay for it. And it wasn't peanut money either. Or cashew, bitch. I know that's right. She smiled at me and continued to party. And before the night was over, I got exactly what I asked for. I had sex with this man upstairs in his bathroom on the floor. Where he got the cash from, I didn't care. I knew the money was real. Call it what you want, but I won't ever forget it. I really thought he would say I was crazy for asking for that amount of money and say, forget it. So the next night came and I was still tired from the night before. The madam said Renee had to be at a porno party and she had a few other girls working there. I knew wherever she would be, celebrities would be there or some very powerful people. No matter how tired I was, I wanted to go. I had never been to a porno party before, so I was surprised as hell when they charged $200 at the door. This porno party was inside of a suite at a hotel, and it wasn't that big. I saw 2 well-known black porn stars there. I met John Singleton that night. He was shorter than I expected. He was at the party hanging out with the girl inside of the bedroom. I also met another actor with John, but I never knew his name. Though I had seen him in quite a few black films before, and a few NBA players came on in too. The party was sweet. The 2.0 girls put on a show that night. I was living it up, partying with classy female pimps and a call girl. It was fun, but it wasn't my world. I realized if I continued to hang out with Renee and this working madam, I would get caught up in their world. I could have continued to go to these parties with her and been someone's jump off every time, or I could work for a female pimp and have my 15 minutes of fame. To me, that was a success. And I didn't see any longevity. Besides, I don't do well with pimps. I've never been pimped, and I can't screw someone and give up my money to a pimp. Not ever happening. So I tried to get more involved with my acting career and went out less with them. Oh, okay. So, right, not a slut bucket, a happy hooker. It's a difference. Okay, my son is here. Hold on. Sorry, guys. I might be able to read this next chapter. Yeah, put your earphones in. Put your earphones in, little boy.
I want to hear all that nasty stuff.
No, you ain't hearing none of this. Now we gotta wait for him to put his earphones on. Hurry up, little boy. I got 2 phones and one need a charge.
I'm trying to think.
I don't even know how. I don't know. I don't know the words. Oh, Lord. Lovely Mimi. Okay. So, earphones. I'm not going to play with you. I'm on a live. Hurry up.
No, I left them at the courts.
Oh, boy.
It's okay, Mom.
Let me see something.
I got 2 phones. One need a charge.
Go sit down. Go upstairs with your grandma. Do something.
I'm finna eat.
You finna wait for me to cook. Let me read this chapter. Would you... God, would you get out? Get out.
Stop.
Go in the bathroom. You be in there anyway. Lord knows what you be doing. Go in there.
What people do in the bathroom, use the bathroom.
Are you not understanding what I'm saying to you? Hurry up.
Hey, your attitude. Are you small with attitude? All right.
Damn children. Who's stalking? I know Lily B ain't back on here. She's stalking again. Jesus. All right. Chapter 15, Jazzy Faye, Butterball Turkey. Come on, Butterball. Let me hurry up and get through this reading. I'm about to read straight through y'all because my son is here. One night I was in Atlanta and I hooked back up with Robert's sister, Rakia. We went out that night and that's when I met Jazzy Faye. He came up to me as the club was closing and said he loved the colors in the top that I wore. And then he asked me my name and if he could have my number. I told him to give me his number, but I didn't have my purse with me that night. So he said to tell him the number and he would remember it. I shouted my phone number to him over the music. He remembered the number because he called me as soon as he got in the car. And we talked briefly. That same night, Rakia and I went back to my place and ate some cheese and eggs at 3 a.m. So the next day, Jazzy called me and I invited him to my place to pick me up. He came right over. My cousin Ebony from the Midwest was there at the time he came over. When he made it over, I wasn't quite ready. So he waited in the family room where my was while I finished curling my hair. We left the house and went to grab a bite to eat. As we sat at the table, he ordered my food, which was 1 entree, and then he ordered his. I had never seen anybody order as much food at one time the way he did. No wonder he was so big. All his food went to his stomach. While we waited for the meal to come, we started to talk about the music business. He told me about his father being from Alabama and in the music business and a few other things. Then he told me he had an artist named Sierra on his label. Sierra, Show Enough Records. He talked about how he had to talk to Sierra about sleeping around with a lot of guys. Bitch, I can't make it up. Oh, God. I gotta hold myself up. Lord Jesus. Lord, Whew. We had a few drinks before the meal came, and I learned a lot about his family in Alabama in that short time. His meal came, and he ate everything on his plate. I was in shock. All I could think about was he had to spend a lot of money just to eat. When we were done eating, he took me back home because I had other things to do. Plus, my cousin was there. He wanted me to go to the studio with him, and I told him maybe later. A friend and my cousin would probably come with me to the studio. We got back to my place, and he was fascinated with my house and the decoration. I took him for a tour in my house and showed him around. When we got to my bedroom, he grabbed and hugged me and tried to kiss me. I didn't like the way his breath smelled, so I turned my head. Why I gotta keep dying? Why do I have to keep passing away? Jesus. Okay, Jesus. It was my first time being that close up on him. And as I hugged him around his neck, he didn't smell too clean. But it was a hot day, and by him being big, I thought maybe he could have sweated and gotten too hot, and that's why he didn't smell clean. So I didn't think too much of it. I didn't tell him that a dinner doesn't make me drop my panties. I did tell him that a dinner doesn't make me drop my panties, only if I wanted to get loose. He smiled and let go of me. I walked him downstairs, gave him a bottle of water, and told him to call me later and let his ass out. Later that night, he called, and I went down to the studio while he was working on some things with Manny Fresh. I stayed for a bit, but I needed to go home and take my cousin to the airport early the next morning. Jazzy asked me why I had to leave so soon and if he could come over to my place later, and I told him no. No man comes over my house after hours, off limits. Later on during the week, when we went out to an event, I had gotten tipsy, and afterward he and I went into the hotel in Buckhead. We really just went to chill. I had gotten tipsy, and afterward, he and I went to the hotel in Buckhead. We really just went to chill out there. He told me that he was too drunk to drive. The whole time we were there, his friends were blowing up his cell phone trying to get him to come out to the strip club, but he was too tired. Then one of his people called him to listen to Sierra's song that they had just started playing in the club. He was excited to let me hear it over the loudspeaker. I told him that his artist and his production sounded good, so we sat around and talked for a short while. I watched him smoke a little something as he sat on the bed. He took his pants off, and all I could see was his stomach. He ordered a bottle of wine for me and asked me if I was hungry, and I told him no. When I was finished drinking the wine, I sat on the bed next to him and told him he was a big man. By now, the wine was talking, not me. I told him that I love a big man and that a big man turns me on. He looked at me and said I was real pretty. Then he asked me why I didn't have a boyfriend. I told him not to worry about all of that. So then when he asked me what it is I was trying to do with him, because I was rubbing his stomach. I told him I wanted to see what he was working with. I asked him to take off his shorts, and he did. So when he took them off, I told him he wasn't so bad. He just had a big ass stomach, but he seemed a little embarrassed. I took his underwear off and started looking for his dome, but I didn't see it. So I lifted his stomach up and pulled some of the skin back. Oh, there it is, I said in a joking manner, so he wouldn't get offended. It was hiding, and the wine was still talking. He moved my hand away and I told him not to be ashamed. Then I told him, you remind me of a butterball stuffed turkey. What? He said. From now on, can I call you Butterball? He said, just not in front of his people. I told him half of his people didn't give a damn about him anyway. They were just hanging around him to fit in or get in. He said he knew that, which was the reason he is careful about who he had around. I saw a lot of things in him that I didn't like. He felt like I had to put on this show around his people just so they could like him. He felt like he had to put on a show around his people just so they could like him. You see how the overweight boy in school tries to be the funny one to get people to like him? That's Jazzy Faye. So I rubbed him down his thigh and massaged his dome. As I was massaging him, I was barely touching him, but he made it sound like it was painful for him. I asked him what's the matter, and he told me he was sensitive there. I didn't like the fact that he didn't smell fresh at all there, so I got up from the bed and asked him not to move. I went to the bathroom, which was only a few feet away, got a wet soapy towel, came back in, and washed his penis, his dome, while he relaxed there in the bed. Jazzy grinned at me as if I was crazy or something. He didn't say a word, but he stared at me as I washed him up. I asked him not to get offended, saying I just like the fresh smell. I didn't mean to offend him, but I had to tell him that I was really funny about hygiene. After I wet him all up, I had to give him a hand towel and told him to dry off with it. I think that spoiled everything because I just couldn't bring myself to want this guy. Normally, when I have had one too many drinks, it's on. Well, not that night. I told him I was way too messed up and that I needed to take a nap. He told me that was fine because he had to be up by 5 a.m. to pick his son up from the nanny. It was early in the morning and he dropped me off first. I really liked him as a friend and I knew he couldn't possibly have a woman to help him out with himself. I think I felt sorry for him because I knew girls only wanted him for his money and he should try to find someone who really liked him for him and not for his name. So seeing it was 1 a.m. on the West Coast, where my girl Ubi was staying at, I called her up and asked her if he was always so big. And she said no. He must have gained a lot of weight. Ubi knew him because he was around when she worked with Lil Jon and Too Short. She is actually my sister, good friend. And she has sung on Fat Joe's album and a lot of Lil Jon's hooks, as well as some work with Jeezy. Ubi also told me Jazzy had changed because he was humble before. After knowing him for a minute, he started to get real cocky with me. I guess to show he's the man. He had an opportunity to show me that night. I had to wash him down, but it wasn't happening. I would call him up and ask him what he was doing, and he would tell me he was hanging out with the fellas. I would say, I'm coming down to the studio, and he would say, well, what time? Because he wasn't going to wait on me. Then he would call me while he was out of town for no reason at all to tell me which celebrity he was hanging out with and where they were. That didn't impress me at all. Hell, once you hang around Tupac and screw around with Suge, nothing else can really impress you. Hanging around Michael Jackson would have been impressing, though, to me, would have impressed me, though. It turned me off more than anything did. After a while, he would call me in the late hours of the night, and I would answer his calls when I felt like it. Not to talk to him, not to talk about him in any way, but for him to be the person he was. Come on now. You can't treat a girl like me any kind of way when I can slap your ego. But my objective wasn't to do that with anyone. Around the same time, I had known Jeezy because we were introduced to Robbins. We were introduced in Robbins, Georgia. Okay. Around the same time, I had known Jeezy because we were introduced in Robbins, Georgia at one of his promo parties by Will, the program producer, the program director there. Jazzy Face somehow knew I was hanging around with Jeezy and working with Shorty Red as my producer. He clowned Shorty Red saying that he was all right, but everything he does is the same. So one night, Sierra was in the studio and I brought my friend to the studio with me. Jazzy came from the engineering room and started acting funky with me. I pulled him in a break room and asked him what the problem was, and he said nothing. He told me that he didn't know I knew his boy. I asked him, who is your boy? He said, Jeezy. I said, yeah, I did a song with him. We both work with the same producer. So hello, what's the big deal? There was no big deal. He was just being nosy and wanted to know my business. I didn't have sex with him, and he felt like Jeezy was just an artist, but he was the hot producer. So he told me to stick around that night, but my friend and I went out. Okay. So next we're going to be talking about Jeezy, but we are going to be finishing this book on the very next reading because we are 88% through this book already. Guys, this book was too good to be so short. Jara, we need you to write more. We're going to need more, the aftermath, what happened now, what's going on, what celebrities' lines you're on now, what do you think about R. Kelly now? We need to know what's going on now. Where is Butterball Turkey in your life today? Okay, update please, Jara. Okay, all right, guys, thank you so much for joining me for this read. Guys, make sure you head over to the website TOXSDIAMOND.com to join me for more reads, more TV, movies. We have It Chapter 2 playing right now for the Red members. We have Tox TV and a book club for the Clear members. Thank you so very much for joining us. Jara, they said your book is the bomb, darling, okay? They said the book is the bomb. All right, we're going to be looking for more books from Jara Evatt. In the meantime, make sure you guys comment, like, and subscribe. Thank you, guys. Peace out.